is our agenda for today. We start with showing you the previous Lifer CAPTCHA scenario, so how it used to work in the Lifer portal, followed by why we decided to make changes to that. Then we'll show you how does a CAPTCHA, standard CAPTCHA flow work. Then how to use the Lifer CAPTCHA client extension and how to implement the Lifer CAPTCHA client extensions. Okay, so starting with the previous Lifer CAPTCHA scenario, before we would only have two options of CAPTCHA out of the box. That would be the Lifer simple CAPTCHA, that is implementation of text-based CAPTCHA. And we will also have Google's reCAPTCHA that you could implement, and we'll have the I'm not a robot checkbox. And this is how they look like. Have the simple CAPTCHA on the left and the reCAPTCHA on the right. Okay. Okay, so why we decided to make these changes? Well, even though we already have two options of CAPTCHA providers in the portal, they have some issues that made some customers made requests. And starting with simple CAPTCHA, well, yeah, the user experience is not the best. Okay, myself, I need to refresh it several times to get a good text to write. And I mean, CAPTCHA should be hard only for robots, right? Not for humans. And then we have reCAPTCHA that even though it has a good user experience, it's not GDPR compliant. And nowadays, most customers need GDPR compliant solutions. So we decided to extend it using client extensions. We use client extensions because it gives users the flexibility to use whatever technology they want to implement the CAPTCHA that meet their needs. Okay, like HCAPTCHA, you can use Cloudflare, Friendly CAPTCHA, whatever you want now, using our client extension. Okay, so how a standard CAPTCHA flow works. I'm going to show you here. I'm using Lifer as an example for the reCAPTCHA one. And basically, it would start with the front end loading the CAPTCHA elements to the user. After this, the user would input their solution of the challenge that would then be sent to the CAPTCHA service, in this case, reCAPTCHA. After this, the CAPTCHA service would return a verification token that will be appended to the form request. And once the request is submitted, it will send the token to the Lifer server. And once it reaches the Lifer server, it would perform a verification request back to the CAPTCHA provider that would send it the token and the secret key. And then in the CAPTCHA service, it would make the validation of the challenge and return back to Lifer, which would finish sending the notification back to the front end if the user had a successful or a failed challenge. So what changes now for the Lifer CAPTCHA client extensions is that we have two main situations here. Is that we now have the front-end part that we have a custom element client extensions and a microservice that will make an interception between the CAPTCHA service and the Lifer portal now. So starting the flow, it will now load the CAPTCHA custom element that you implement. Then basically the flow would be the same as the previous one. So the user will make the solution input to the CAPTCHA service, then go back with the verification token that would be sent with the form request to Lifer portal. So here's the main change now. Once you reach the Lifer portal, it will now delegate the token verification to the CAPTCHA microservice. So it will now be responsible, it's not the Lifer portal that will be responsible anymore to performing the verification request. It will now be the microservice. So the same thing, when it reaches the microservice, it will perform the verification request to the provider you're using. then it will return the response to the microservice. And in the microservice, you just need to treat the response to send a valid response for the LiveWire portal, and it will finish the flow with sending the notification to the front end. So I will go back here now because some of you may be asking why we need this microservice. Why don't we make everything the LiveWire portal and generic? The thing is, even though most CAPTCHAs follow the same flow, not all of them perform the same implementation of the verification request. So some of them perform it by using a get method, some of them perform a post method, and some of them use additional parameters to the request. So if we did it generic thing in the LiveWire portal, we might face some limitations, and we don't need that. We don't want that, right? So using the microservice, we have the flexibility now, so users can implement it the way they want. And you just need, LiveWire will just need this from you. If it's a success, you just set a JSON saying success. And if it's a failure, you can send an array with the error codes, and LiveWire will treat it and send it to the front end now. Okay, it's very simple. It should be. Okay, so how can you use the CAPTCHA client extension? Well, after you build the client extension and deploy it, important information now, if you're using the CAPTCHA client extensions behind the feature flag, before deploying your client extensions, please be sure to enable it before deploying, or else you can get some issues with the UI. So remind that before deploying your client extensions, okay? So using it, after deploying, you just go to the configuration in the UI, and you see in the drop-down your new CAPTCHA. Here you're showing the HCAPTCHA client extension. And after this, you just update your configuration, and now everywhere that LiveWire uses the CAPTCHA out of the box will be using your new CAPTCHA widget. Okay, so places like the server admin, the forgot password page, the Google Shell, the create account, and so on. Okay, it's very simple to use, and we are very happy with this now. And moving on, I'm going to show you how you can set up your CAPTCHA client extensions, specifically the YAML file of it. And starting, we have the attribute CAPTCHA name. This is how you will call your CAPTCHA. This is how it will be shown in the UI. Here you can call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter. And next, we have the CAPTCHA response parameter name. This will typically be shown in the documentation of the provider you're using. And this is how LiveWire will know where to get the data to send to the microservice. So please note what the parameter name your provider is using. After, we have the custom element external reference code. So for rendering the front end, you have the custom element client extension. And here is where the communication between them is made. You just need to reference the external reference code here, and it should be good to go. And then the client extension name. This is mostly for log level to identify it. Then we have the auth2 applications and reference code. It's the same thing as the custom element external reference codes to make the communication between both client extensions. Next to, we have the resource path. And this is where you state the path you're implemented in your microservice. So LiveWire knows where to send the request to for the delegating the verification, token verification request. Okay. And finally, we have the type of the client extension, which is CAPTCHA. And I also added an example of how you can configure your auth2 application. And you can see here that we actually don't need any scopes because the microservice doesn't need to invoke anything from LiveWire. So it's here just to make the connection between them more secure. Okay, so now I'm moving the presentation to Prax so he can show you the live demo, how you can implement your own client extension.
Here you go, guys. Thank you, Manu, for the detailed explanation. So let's switch here. Let's see some code. Okay. Okay, for this presentation, we have prepared. Oh, are you seeing my screen? Okay. Yes, I can do that. Okay. So we have created a simple workspace that contains 4 client extensions implementations. CAPTCHA. I'm just start up the library right now. So let's see some code. Okay. Can you see? Okay, let's give some more
A little,
zoom.
I think.
Okay. As I said, we have prepared a Blade workspace that contains 4 client extensions, implementations, thanks library. And they are basically the edge capture. The edge capture for sure was the most requested integration that we received in our team. So, by the way, we created a POC, and there is a edge capture, official edge capture integration in our library portal repository also. Okay, in this repository, you can see we're gonna see that we have 4 implementation, but for this presentation, we are just focused on the 3 of them. So that will be the really simple capture. This one is just for educational purpose. So with this example, we can see what Manu said previously about the 2 flows, like the front-end flow and the back-end flow. Okay. And we have the edge capture and the Ultra. Ultra is a solution. It's a open source solution, and is also a self-hosted solution that we can use also with library. So let's see the code. Okay. So let's start with the custom element client extension for now. So we will start with the really simple capture. So basically, in the client extension YAML, it's a pretty simple configuration. So nothing so important there. So we just have an index.js file, and what we have in this client extension. So it just have a checkbox input, and based on if it's checked or not, we'll populate this field. So, and the name of the field is really simple capture response. That, if you remember, we need to reference it in our client extension capture. Let's see it here. Okay. Okay, let's start just the Spring Boot application. Okay, it's here. Okay, let's go to the library now. Okay. I already have deployed the Spring Boot application. So security tools, capture, simple capture. Note simple capture. It should be the really simple capture. Okay. Let's test it in our Google Shell area. Okay. How you can see, it's the widget that we implement in the custom element client extension. And let's try with list bundle command. So I will show you just the error flow. Okay, it blocks the operation. And as it's a really simple CAPTCHA, we just need to check the box, to check the checkbox here, and now the command will be executed. So let's take a look in the backend code. It's basically our OS controller, the validation that we configured in our YAML. So basically, the JSON that Manu mentioned in his part. So we are receiving here. So what we are just doing here is just checking if the response is true. If it's true, it's validated. So it's for sure a really simple implementation. And please do not use this in production. Okay, let's go to a most interesting one. So the edge capture. So as you can see, all of the implementations share the same architecture. So it will contain a custom element project and the Spring Boot object, Spring Boot module. Okay, let's go to the edge capture for now. So same thing for the real captcha, the front-end part. The only thing that we are doing here, we are using the edge captcha React component, so we can use the edge captcha solution. So as you can see here, so there's a site key configuration. So it's a specific edge captcha configuration. So it's look like the reCAPTCHA one. So if you remember. So let's see how we configure it here. So it's the edge captcha dashboard. So I just create a site for the DevCon that we are using in this example here. Okay. Let me just set a easy puzzle. Okay. Let me switch for the edge capture. Okay, let's test these. Okay, as you can see, the widget is rendered. So let's try to solve the puzzle. Drag the object on the right to the partner. Okay. Let's test it now. Oops. Okay, I forgot something. We need to start up the microservice here. Where it is? Okay.
I think you're on the outro one.
Ah, outro one, sorry. It's still the outro one. Okay, just some seconds, and we're gonna see the magic happen. Okay, it's ready. Let's try to solve the puzzle again. Click on the pocket size objects. I think that's it.
A share.
Okay, it worked. It's kind of magic. So let's take a look in the. Let's take a look in the backend code. It's very simple also. So as Manu said, Lifer delegates the validation for the client extension we created, but as we are relying on the edge captcha, we should delegate to the edge captcha site verifier. So basically, we are creating a post request and send the remote IP, the response that Lifer sent to us, and the secret that is a specific configuration for the edge captcha. So after the edge captcha response, we can check if it's a successful one or not. So just it, guys, just it. Just some lines of code, and you have a complete solution, captcha, that you want to put live here. So, and the next one will be the CAPTCHA. Why we decide to use CAPTCHA? Because CAPTCHA, for this presentation, it's an open source solution that promise to solve the bot the bot detection challenge without breaking the user flow, like without showing puzzle to the users to solve. So basically, CAPTCHA uses some kind of proof of concept which means that at the end, who will solve the challenge will be your browser. So let's see how it works now. And it's a self-hosted solution. I have previously mentioned it. So we need a third guy here. We need a local CAPTCHA servlet, or CAPTCHA server. So it's all in our documentation, and I just need to check out this repository and just start up the server. Okay, it's a Maven one. Spring Boot to run. Okay. Basically, our front-end cloud extensions will communicate with these servers that we just started right now. So this server will generate the challenge, and the CAPTCHA widget will talk, and you will try to solve the puzzle, the challenge by yourself. So without present a puzzle to the user. So let's start up the this time and not forget this. And not forget. Okay, just some seconds. Okay, everything's okay. I just need to change here. Okay, CAPTCHA CX. Okay. Go shell again. So now, as you can see, the CAPTCHA widget was hindered. Let's try to solve. Okay. Okay, it worked. So just to show you, just as a so just to show the flow how the CAPTCHA does it behind the scenes. So when you click, it will invoke the server that we have running in the 3000 port. And after that, they try a lot of things, and they don't know what it means, but it's try to solving the challenge by itself. So and it worked. So let's take a look in the code. The code also is pretty simple. CAPTCHA. Okay, the custom element follow the same flow that we have shown in the previous ones, and the Spring Boot is not so complex, but it has an advantage that we are not invoking an external service. We are just using the CAPTCHA lib to verify the solution. So as you can see here, we need just the response that Life sent to us and this key. So this key is shared between the Spring Boot application and the server that we are running in our environment. So the server generates a challenge with this key, and the verifier here will verify the solution using the same key. So simple, guys. Yeah, that's it for today. You can see all the code that we have shown here in the repository we have created. Please try by yourselves. So it was a big pleasure to be here with you. So
the QR code.
Yes. We need a QR code to access the But not sure, man. It's not sure. Okay. Here's the QR code, so you can access the workshop workspace that we have created for this. So that's it. If you need some help, discuss something.
I just have something to add that if you see some CAPTCHA providers, they on their documentation they say how you can migrate from reCAPTCHA, and it's very simple most of the times. So we have a sample for reCAPTCHA using client extensions, and you can use that as a base to migrate to some of these providers. So feel free to use it. It's on the workspace as well.
Exactly.
And yeah.
That's it, guys. Thank you for attending this meeting here.